All right. Hey, you guys. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Thank you all for hopping on. It is April 21st, 2016. I'm Natasha Ferguson and the founder of Stunner Squad. So tonight, before we get started, we have an awesome guest speaker I am so excited to introduce to all of you. But I just want to give a quick shout out to Sheena, Jessica Laska, Emily Rickard, and Heather, is it Novotny? Does anybody know? Okay, perfect. For all of you already being on the board at Success Club, we still have like a good week left, just over a week left in this month. So if you have not reached your goals, please go to our team page. I posted a link to a YouTube video yesterday about how to hit Success Club in 24 hours. There's tons of information in there, and it really just comes back down to what we've been talking about in our team page, and that's consistency and doing your 4 vital behaviors and doing them every day consistently, right? So if you have any questions or you need anything, please use the team page, go to your upline, whoever that is, and ask for help. We are all here to help you. If you have been out of the loop or you are a brand new coach, we have so many challenge packs on sale this month. Masters Hammer and Chisel with Shakeology, or the Performance Challenge Pack, which is Recovery and Energize, are both on sale for $160 this month. You can get Club and the Shakeology for $140. You can get Club with the Performance Challenge Pack also for $140, and you can do the Club Kickstart and Shakeology Challenge Pack for $180 this month. And if you also didn't know, the Success Club prize for this month is that Shakeology apron, right? I know Sheena plans on doing some cooking for her hubby in that thing, right? And just also real quick, I want to give a shout out to Hannah Smith, because she is one of our brand new coaches on the team, and she's been going live like every single day talking about her workouts, talking about joining her challenge groups, talking about 21 Day Fix and how it's already helped her and affected her and her Shakeology, and she's not even done with her first round of 21 Day Fix. So I'm really proud of you. Angela Straight, you had an amazing post tonight, which was your first call to action I have seen. I know we've been doing lots of chatting, but I'm really proud of that. And Jessica Laska, you are our tank top winner from last week's 3-day challenge for sending invites and everything else. So I will be messaging you about all of that. Okay, so I want to wrap everything up as far as what I have to say and pass everything over to Kayleen, who is a diamond of my upline, Rachel Allen's. So I think she just has so much to share with all of you guys. She has been a coach for just about a year now, and she actually signed up last year. I think it was right now this time of year, and she was a coach for 3 or 4 months and shared a room with me at Summit. My first night there, Rachel said, "You need to be at Summit," and she went, "Okay," and she was there. She has been totally in since day one, and I just love everything that she has done and everything she has to share. So I'm passing the mic over to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm super honored to be on this call, because this is actually the first time I've ever been asked to guest speak on a call, so I'm a little nervous. So if I talk too fast, or just tell me to pump the brakes, it's fine. So I am going to be talking today about the power of your story, because really as coaches, that's the most important tool we have in our arsenal. More than the programs, more than Shakeology, more than anything is our story and our experiences and how we share those with the world, primarily via social media. So I just wanted to start off with my story to start. Like Natasha said, I became a coach. It was May 1st of last year. But before that, I was a customer. And before that, I have been overweight my entire life, literally, like from the age of 8 years old onward. I've always been overweight. I've always struggled with my weight. I've gone through lots of phases and fad diets and body positivity and everything that you could imagine about it relating to your body, health, or fitness. I've done it. I've tried it. I've failed at it. But it was around this time last year that I decided to take a chance on 21 Day Fix. I was 320 pounds. I was severely depressed. I felt very, very alone because I had tried and failed and fallen, and I just felt about as low as you possibly could because I was incredibly uncomfortable in my body, and my self-confidence was like at rock bottom because I kept, I wanted something, but I didn't know how to get there. So I actually came across my coach, Rachel, in a fitness-related group, and I was drawn to her because I kept seeing her posts, and I kept seeing her share her story and her journey, and I started getting like a little bit of a girl crush on her, and just being like, I want that girl to be my friend. Just a complete stranger in a Facebook group. And so there was one, I had once again been trying to lose weight. I was using YouTube videos and tracking my calories on MyFitnessPal and basically getting nowhere. I think I had maybe lost 10 pounds in 3 or 4 months. When I decided that I wanted to try 21 Day Fix. So I actually tried it by downloading it illegally. I got 2 workouts in and I said, screw this, I need help. And so I messaged Rachel because I remembered her, and I was like, I think she does that Beachbody thing. And the rest is history. A week and a half into my first round, Rachel approached me about coaching, and I signed up. It was while you all were on that Cancun trip, and I was like, I want to be there, and I love this. I lost 13 pounds in my first round, and I was sold. And like Natasha said, I jumped in head first. I became a coach on May 1st. I was a coach for a couple of weeks, and Rachel said, if you're serious about your business, you're going to come to Summit. So I was not eligible for a Success Starter ticket at that point, so I paid $200 for a new coach ticket. I packed up my car. I drove 12 hours from Sarasota to Nashville, and I shared a room with 4 people I'd never met before because I believed that this was going to work. I believed that if I wanted to make this business work, that I had to take a few risks. And honestly, I didn't really realize how crazy it was until I got there and people were like, what? You've only been a coach for like 2.5 months? Whatever. It's the best decision I've ever made. And I highly recommend being spontaneous about travel, no matter what the circumstances. It's worth it. So what I've learned in the last year, it took me 2 weeks to get to Emerald. I was all in. I hit Success Club 10 in Emerald my very first month as a coach. This month actually marks my becoming a Success Club 5 All-Star officially. But I struggled a lot on my journey to Diamond. And even once I hit Diamond, it took me 6 months. I became Diamond in December. I wound up losing it for a while because I was approaching leadership in the wrong way. And I only just got it back today. So there'll be wine after this call. But one of the biggest things that I've learned in my journey is that your story is so important. And I think the fact of the matter is that everyone has a story to tell, but a lot of people don't know how to tell it. Or even worse, they're afraid to tell it because they don't think it's important. And I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. Your story is key. And the reason it's key is because that is what makes you relatable and accessible to the people you need to reach, whether they be customers or coaches. That is what opens you up to your tribe. So, and it's all through vulnerability. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about being the model coach or the model fitness guru. You know, it's not about looking like you need to be on the cover of Shape magazine or that you never eat a slice of pizza. It's about being real. It's about having struggles, and it's about sharing it with the people who follow you, because that is what people want. They want to know that there is someone out there who is like them and understands what they struggle with too. Brene Brown had this awesome quote that I looked up while I was researching all this. And if you struggle with kind of putting yourself out there, I definitely recommend her books, The Gifts of Imperfection and Daring Greatly. They're fantastic. But she said, owning your story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending your life running from it. And I think that's sums it up, basically. So when you're looking at telling your story from like a social media marketing perspective, when in the grand history of the world, in the history of literature, a story has a pretty basic arc. You know, you have your hero living in perfect harmony when all of a sudden a conflict arises and harmony is disrupted. And they go on a quest to figure out exactly, you know, how to solve this conflict. And usually that there appears this wise old sage who offers up a solution or a magic potion or a solution from the sky that fixes the problem, and everyone lives happily ever after. The problem is that most people, when they are approaching their story or what they're selling or what they're offering, is that they think that they are the hero. I'm here to tell you, you are not the hero of the story that you're telling on social media. Your customer, your potential customer, is the hero. They are the one with the problem. They are the one on the journey. You are the wise old sage with the potion who's been where they've been before. So you've got to look at it from that perspective, is that you are the one who is swooping in with the magical solution that will solve their conflict, their problem. And it comes down to, when you're starting, you've got to start with 3 basic steps. Keep it really, really simple when you're telling your story. The first step is where you were. So I was 320 pounds overweight. I was $10,000 in credit card debt. I was lonely, depressed, and totally without a clue with how to take control of my life. Part 2 is what you did. To keep a long story short, reached out and found a coach and got started with 21 Day Fix and Shakeology. Step 3 is where it got you. So now I have lost 60 pounds in a year. I have paid off over $4,000 of that debt, and I am helping other people achieve the same results. It really can be as simple as that, whether you focus on your emotional story, your physical story, or your financial story. Those are all going to resonate with people because those are the 3 things that people that are going to need solutions to. Now, should you tell your story all at once? Absolutely not. Nobody wants to be that person, scrolling through your feed like, when does this post end? What is the point? No. That's where I actually learned about this at Summit, my first Summit, which is called breadcrumbing. Oh, number 3 is where it got you, how you're doing. So the resolution, as it were. So you should not tell your story all at once. It does not need to be a years-long epic. Think of it as like dropping breadcrumbs, or like it's a chapter in a book. You will know when the opportune time is to share different aspects of your story and your struggle. Like just yesterday, I shared about a picture that was taken of me 2 years ago that when I saw it was like the defining moment of realizing that something needed to change, and then how long it took me after that picture was taken to actually do anything about it. You know, you pick the time to reveal your struggles with emotional eating, or your struggles with paying off debt, or your story about, you know, an injury, or your struggles with parenting. It doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be a whole word vomit thing. You've just got to figure out, start simple and construct your arc in a way that is going to relate to the people you want to reach out to, your dream customers, your dream clients. My biggest guidelines for telling your story is, number one, to be you and to be 100% real. I think we all know that there are people out there, don't hate, but all of their posts and their pictures and their content sounds exactly the same. It's like Stepford Wives, you know, and you can't relate to that because it's just continuously one note and empty. I want anyone who reads my posts to meet me in real life and be like, oh my gosh, you're just like how you are on the internet. It should never be about being like anyone else. By all means, follow top coaches, follow people that inspire you, you know, take ideas from what they post on social media. But when you are copying and pasting exactly what they say, more often than not, you can tell because it doesn't sound like you. It's got to sound, it's got to be you. It's got to be your story. It's got to be your voice. And that can be really scary because you're basically putting yourself on the line. So my number 2 tip is to be consistent, because it's really easy to stop putting yourself out there when the likes and the comments aren't showing up. If you're consistently just like sharing real stuff, if you are sharing your journey and you feel like you are speaking to the vacuum and nothing's coming back, I know it feels that way, but you're wrong. There are people watching. There are people out there who are afraid to comment. There are people out there who are skeptical, but they're watching. I can tell you, people told me that when I first became a coach, and I didn't believe them until a year later. And I have people messaging me out of the blue about products who have never, ever liked a single thing I've ever posted. And they're like, I'm ready. How do I sign up? So believe me, they're out there, but you're going to lose them if you stop putting yourself out there, because there are people out there who are totally ready, but most people, it's going to take a little bit of time. So be consistent and never, ever, ever stop telling your story. I get so mad when I ask someone like, oh, well, they say that they're struggling, and I say, oh, well, have you shared, your story or your journey or your before and after, your progress pictures? And they're like, oh yeah, I did that like a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't really get much response. No, keep doing it over and over and over again, even if you feel like you're repeating yourself. Because here's the deal. If you're doing what you should be doing, if you're doing your vital behaviors, if you're doing your power hour, you're adding 3 people to your network every day. That's 90 people a month at least. That's over 1,000 people a year who never got to see the story that you posted 2 months ago. And not to mention all the people who you are friends with who just like were at the dentist that day, or, just didn't show up on because of Facebook's weird algorithms or whatever. So don't assume that just because you share something once that you should never share it again. People's attention spans and memories are not that good. So keep going, keep doing you, keep sharing and putting yourself out there and getting vulnerable. But also remember that at the end of it all, as Beachbody coaches, it is imperative that we stay positive. That's not to mean that we are perfect. That's not to say that we should, sugarcoat things. But my big rule when I'm sharing something that is a struggle, or it's a little dark, or it could be construed as negative, is to always have a takeaway. So yes, I talk about how I struggle with compulsive eating or X, Y, and Z, but I always pull it back as to what my takeaway is from it in a more positive way. How the methods I'm taking to resolve it, or the wisdom I have come to as a result of it. You've got to have a positive takeaway, because social media is such a powerful tool, guys. We are on our phones more than anything else. It's more influential than TV or the movies or the news or anything. We are on these things 24/7 practically. And you all know people who share stuff on Facebook that you read and you're like, I wish I didn't know that about you. I really, I didn't need to know that. And that kind of brought me down, and that stuff adds up. So when you are a light on someone's Facebook feed, when you post something inspirational or aspirational, people remember that. People love that. And I can't tell you how many messages, and they're the best messages ever, are people who say, just thank you for sharing that, because your post made my day. That's it. That's all I want. And it's so important. Another thing is also, this is actually a Danielle Natoni tip, which is your post should always, your story post should always pass the so what test. You never want anyone to be looking at your pictures or your post and ask themselves, okay, and so what? You've gotta, so like the example she used is a really good one. If you post a picture of yourself at a baby shower with no context, people are going to be like, oh, that's nice. So what? If you post a picture of a friend's baby shower and they were someone who's a close friend of yours, who had, trouble conceiving because of health issues, but then they went on to, they connected with you and got on 21 Day Fix and Shakeology. That is a story. That is something that you can turn around. Or even, it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. It could be something as minor as like a picture of when I was on 21 Day Fix. I took a picture of a salad that I ate at a restaurant. Now, most people just scroll on past food pictures because that's, 90% of the internet. But I posted about how triumphant I felt because it was the first time I had ever gone out to eat and ordered a salad. And that was big for me as someone who struggled with food issues. And I felt empowered by the 21 Day Fix. And I finally felt like I was in control and I wasn't just ordering compulsively or eating things I shouldn't or going off track. So really think about what you post and how it impacts people and how it relates to you. Your social media should be you, but it should also be carefully curated about what you want to share with yourself to the world. The fact of the matter is your people are out there. Your dream customers and your dream coaches, they are out there in the world. They just need to know how to find you. They need to know what you're offering. They do not really need to be too convinced after they've learned who you are and what you're doing. They are excited to work with you. They just need to know that you exist. So keep putting yourself out there, keep sharing your story, keep doing your thing, and that's where the magic happens. So that, I think, is kind of sums up what I wanted to say, but if there are any questions or anything on my rambling, go for it.
Does anybody have any questions for Kayleen?
Can you repeat
Real
the book
quick.
titles again?
But as I was like almost looking like I was ignoring her, I was thumbing through my GoPro book, and this is the brand new updated copy, I think, because what I'm looking for I cannot find, and my used and abused and highlighted and torn up copy is in my car because I literally go through it that often. Yeah, maybe. Good one, Sheena. But this book, I can tell you, it's Go for Pro by Eric Worre. I never know. He says it all the time, and I never say
it's fine. It's fine.
He put in there, and it took me a really long time to get through it because I think like the first two chapters probably are like so business boring that I was like, meh, and put the book down probably 47 times. And then once I got past that, I was just kind of like pulled into the book going, oh my God, like there's so much knowledge in this book. But one of the things I think that I really took away from it as a newer coach when I read this was he talked about your story. And he talked about saying, I'll read it to you because I have it on my computer, because before I do calls with any of my coaches, I send this to them. Like it's literally a hodgepodge, Snapchat, whatever, of different parts of the book. But he says, I started by learning how to give a short and effective testimonial. Learning to tell my story was extremely valuable in building my business and has been to this day. People aren't interested in how much you know, but they are interested in your story as long as you don't bore them to death with it. So no matter what your background is, you can craft a compelling personal story. And the 4 elements that he uses are your background, just like Kayleen had said, the things that you didn't like about your background. So Kayleen was at her weight and she was depressed and whatever, and she was really sad about all of that, right? Like she talked about even just tonight how she got to that point, and that's how she was since she was 8 years old. And she just wanted to change, right? And so then you talk about how network marketing or your company came to the rescue. And she told you all of that too. Like she fell in love with Rachel and had her girl crush. And then she hacked into the 21-day fix and realized she still didn't have it. Like she still needed something. And that's when it came to the rescue. And then the 4th one is your results or how you feel about your future. So it doesn't matter if you're sharing your results emotionally, physically, financially, where you want your future to go and see, and where you think you're going to be next year when you're in the Dominican Republic with all of us on the Success Club trip. Like that's your future. That is huge. And it's because of this business, right? Like if you are working towards that, share it, talk about it. Like all of these, talking about how you're going to be in Nashville for Summit this summer, and we're all going to hang out and go to dinner and like whoop it up and not be Beachbody coaches for one night and have one too many drinks and then wake up at 5 a.m. and go work out in like 90-degree heat and maybe die. Like it's going to be great. And you know what? Because we're real. We're not just Beachbody coaches who fit in this tiny box. We're real humans and share all of that. So everything Kayleen said, on point. You know, every book that I've read where they talk about your story, it all comes back to this same stuff, you guys. And as often as you think that you're repeating too much, you're not, unless you're only posting your story 4 to 5 times a day and every day, 7 days a week. But none of you are.
The books, someone asked, the books that I referenced earlier are both by Brené Brown, and the titles are The Gifts of Imperfection and Daring Greatly. She also has a new one out called Rising Strong, which I have not read, but it's all about bouncing back from failure, so I'm sure it's a necessary one. But yeah, any other questions? Oh,
Here's somebody. Nobody?
Nobody?
All right, so here's one question then. If there was one thing that you wish you would have known right when you started coaching that you know now, or one thing that you could change about your coaching career, what would that be?
Don't be afraid of the business opportunity. I wasted a lot of time being afraid to share how being a Beachbody coach was blessing my life. And I waited a long time to feel comfortable approaching other people about the opportunity. Most of my coaches when I signed up were discount coaches or people who had no idea really what they were signing up for. So it took me a long time to find people who were actually wanting to work the business because I wasn't comfortable sharing it. I was worried because I have a full-time job. I was worried that people would judge me for not liking my job and wanting to do this other thing instead. I was letting that define me. And I was also worried about coming off as gimmicky or salesy when in reality, like, business is a blessing, and what we do and what we offer people is an enormous blessing. And we should never feel uncomfortable or salesy or skeezy when we approach people about it because it is a gift. Yeah.
All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, I will let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. Again, thank you all for hopping on. And thank you so much, Kayleen, for joining us and sharing all of that.
I hope you guys got something out of it.
If you guys think of anything after we get off this call, please let me know. I'll connect you with Kayleen if you already are not. Okay? All right. Have a great night, and let's kick the rest of April's booty. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Get that apron.
Yeah, let's get those aprons. We can take like a matching picture on our next call. Everybody wearing their aprons. Okay, bye you guys.